To the NDTV YouTube channel. I'm going to give you a small idea of some of the big stories we are tracking today. Remember, it's the United Nations General Assembly session taking place in New York right now. About a month back, Pakistan had placed the terrorist Hafiz Saeed into their custody on allegations of terror funding. Now, this was a man who was responsible also in a way for the 26/11 attacks as the head of the Jamaat-ud-Dawa. There are sanctions against him from the United Nations. This story has come to the fore again because Pakistan now has formally approached the United Nations Security Council and has said, please allow Hafiz Saeed, this global terrorist, to access the equivalent of $1,000 which lie in a bank account of his for the basic financial requirements of his family. So let's look at the strange irony over here. At the time when Pakistan tries to get the high ground as far as terrorism is concerned, what is basically happening now is that the government of Pakistan is approaching the United Nations for a terrorist to get funds on his behalf to be released. Number one. Number two, it also indicates the close association between the Pakistan government and terrorists like Hafiz Saeed. And what is of great concern, certainly for India, is that the United Nations has actually allowed this to take place. So Hafiz Saeed, while he is still supposedly in custody in Pakistan for terror financing, is being allowed to access these funds. So that's one story that we are looking at very, very closely. The other story we are seeing is this horrific story of how two children, two scheduled caste children, one 10 years old, one 12 years old, were brutally murdered while they were defecating out in the open near a panchayat in Madhya Pradesh. It's a story which is outrageous that these attacks continue to take place. The crime of these children was that they were defecating out in the open, quite besides the rhetoric of India being defecation free. The point over here is really about the murder of these two innocent children. Their crime, defecating outside. What is the Madhya Pradesh government going to do about this? Will there be stern action? And if you are talking about open defecation, isn't it also time to accept the reality? One of those points of reality is this. Yes, there has been outstanding progress as far as the provision of toilets is concerned. But to encourage people to actually use those toilets to ensure that there is enough water available, these are issues which perhaps have not been dealt with. So just the provision of a toilet alone doesn't remove open defecation. But let that alone not be the focus. The focus really is on the brutal murder of these two children, 10 years old and 12 years old, a boy and a girl. The other story I'm looking at as well today, actually these images, they are fairly startling images, and this is the Khanderi. The Khanderi is India's newest submarine. She is going to be commissioned into the Indian Navy on the 28th of this month by the Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. It's a stunning submarine, the second of the Scorpene class submarines being built in India to a French design. They're all being built at the Mazgaon docks. The first one has entered service. This is the second one. High resolution images being released by the Indian Navy. And these are, this submarine is now going to be entering service on the 28th at a time when the Indian Navy's submarine fleet, its submarine arm, has really been declining in a sense because its submarines are old. And there is a desperate need to add numbers. There's been a huge requirement for this. And so therefore the induction of any new asset, this submarine, is certainly a big moment, a red letter day for the Indian Navy.